back to my channel. My name is Christine, and here we talk about living during cancer. Today we're going to talk about the ins and outs of chemo. So let's get into it. Now, just a disclaimer, I'm not a physician. This is just my own experience, and everyone experiences things differently. So I just wanted to share this with you. Please ask your doctor, your healthcare provider, about any questions you have or how your treatment's going to go. Usually they do an office visit and let you know what medications you're on and what to expect. So I just wanted to be upfront with that. All right, now let's get into it. What do you take to chemo? Well, you're going to want to take hard candy or some kind of throat lozenge. Your throat gets dry. Biotin makes great sprays, mouthwashes, gums, and things like that. That helps. Also, you want to take a snack, some water, a blanket. You might get cold, a beanie if your hair's already fallen out for later. You can take that if you get cold. Things to do. They told me plan like if you were on a 5-hour flight, because it could take up to 5 hours or more depending on your particular case. I always take tissue with me because when you start to lose your hair, your nose runs, and my eyes just started to run. What to expect when you're there. So you will arrive, and you should have, like I said before in the intro, that you should have had some kind of visit with a PA or your physician about what medications you're on and what to expect as far as how long you'll be there and symptoms. You'll get there and you'll get put in a chair, maybe in a room, maybe in a group setting, a nice lounge chair to relax in, and they're going to take your vitals every time you go in. And then they're going to access a port, which looks like this, which you'll know if you have one. They have to put that in a couple days before, weeks before, or they'll just give you an IV to put your meds in, depending on your case. Now, what they do is they first take blood. They take blood to make sure that your levels are all good, that your kidney functions are working, and your liver's working, and you have enough blood cells so that you can fight off infection and you're good. And then they have your doctor approve it, and then they go ahead and start with your medication. They do start after they do the blood. They hook you up with some fluid first, I should say that. Fluid can take anywhere from about an hour or so. They just because you get dehydrated when you're on chemo. Then after they get the okay from the doctor and your fluids are in, then they will go ahead and start maybe steroids or something like that. I had steroids, and that went in for about an hour. Then they went in with the first medication, which takes about an hour and a half. Then they went in with the next medication, and it took an hour and a half. So you're just really sitting there the whole time. Now, as you're sitting there, yes, you can get up and go to the bathroom. You're kind of still hooked up to a IV pole, but that's okay. It's still easy to do. You're there so long that, yeah, if you get hungry, sometimes they have snacks there and drinks to help with your energy boost. You can also DoorDash food to yourself. Bring a lunch. I always brought a lunch, and then at one point I just brought a snack because I wasn't getting that hungry. You can have a friend come and eat with you. I mean, just talk to the clinic and see what they allow, and everyone's really accommodating. They really want your experience to be as easy and as comfortable as possible. During this time, with your first time there with getting the medications, make sure you let people know if you have any funny feelings, numbing. They'll let you know, do you feel this, do you feel that? You just want to make sure you feel okay while the medications are going through you, and be vocal about it. You must always be your own advocate, always. This is a little bit of etiquette. Try not to talk on the phone. Some people have had conversations. A lot of people don't feel well, and then you have someone loud talking on the phone, and they're hard of hearing, and then they use speakerphone, and so try not to. This is not the time to be having conversations unless you get an emergency call from your doctor or something like that. Also, if you're listening to social media or working or watching videos or movies, go ahead and use earphones. I also noticed when I was there, and I did chemo for a year, there's only really small talk. A lot of people don't. When I was there, I never heard anyone get into a deep conversation about their diagnosis, and nobody asked what you have or what's going on. Mostly just some small talk about this and that, oh yeah, getting poked again or something like that. So read the room and be aware of your surroundings. Also, I want to make a point that you're sitting there for 5 hours maybe. I sat there for 5.5 hours, just depends. And if you get hungry, go ahead and make sure you have that snack. Uber Eats, go to DoorDash, You can have a friend bring you food. Yeah, there's a lot of ways you can do something like that if you get hungry. Also, I found that over time, I needed less and less stuff. Like, I wasn't reading. I wasn't watching movies. I just got tired, so I stopped bringing my tablet. I stopped bringing my laptop, and usually I just brought my phone. I was never cold, so I never needed a blanket, but plenty of people did have blankets. It just depends on you. So my go-to bag for chemo just got smaller and smaller, and I always did bring a mask. When you're going through chemo and when you have cancer in general, it's really smart to wear a mask. So that is something else to prepare for. Symptoms. So symptoms can vary depending on what your medication is. Runny nose, weepy eyes. Runny nose and weepy eyes, I always just kept tissues with me constantly. Blotting, blotting, blotting. Also for the eyes, using like artificial tears. For weepy eyes, I use like artificial tears that just help keep my eyes lubricated so they wouldn't burn and stuff like that. Hot flashes, lots of hot flashes. Those are just difficult. Talk to your doctor about those. There is stuff you can do for that. The balding. The balding is, I'll probably do a whole video on that, on just the hair and losing it during that process, growing it back. I'll probably do a whole video on that. It is a thing we have to deal with. Not everyone, but a lot of medications, especially for breast cancer, you do have to deal with it. And caps and things like that, I just eventually just went bald because I didn't like wearing stuff on my head, and wigs never worked for me. So that's just me. Another situation you might come across is dry mouth, and we talked about that earlier. Hard candies, biotin, the gum, the mouthwash, the spray, they really help, especially before you eat. That's really helpful. Also nausea, they'll give you medicine for that if you ask for it, but also just like those ginger nibs or something like that, or mint hard candies, they can also be very helpful during those little bouts of nausea. Not huge bouts, but just when you don't feel quite right. Another thing that happens, it happened to me, I got COVID right around the time I started chemo, but I lost my sense of taste, and I really haven't gotten it back yet. Not really. Once in a while I get like, oh, I can taste that. Tell people who are cooking for you and stuff like that, or if you're cooking for yourself, like, yeah, don't add the garlic or don't add the pepper. Things just taste off and different, and you're gonna have to play around with it a little bit. Mild foods are good for a while. Like if anything spicy tastes kind of bitter, you're just gonna have to work with that, and then hopefully talk to your doctor and see when that symptom will resolve itself. So over time, your hair does grow back. And I want to make this clear. I didn't really understand this, but I kept shaving my head thinking like it wasn't going to grow, my hair wasn't going to grow back until I stopped chemo. But actually it fell out at 3 weeks, and then it just started to grow back. And it was weird. Not everywhere. Like at 3 weeks, I lost it everywhere. But it started to come back on my, of course, facial hair and on top of my head and eyebrows and stuff like that. If you shaved your head at first, wait and see if it starts to grow back before you keep shaving it, because I'm like a couple months I could have been growing my hair out. The other thing is exercise. I wasn't able to exercise for my own reasons and conditions that I had in my case, but keeping healthy, keeping moving is really helpful, and there are plenty of websites. Talk to your doctor, your physician, your healthcare providers on that, and how much you can do and when you can do it. Over time, you're gonna find how chemo affects you and when your good days are and your not so good days are. So I always used to have better days on the days I had chemo because they gave me steroids, and that's when I would plan outings. Going to the store with friends, lunch, something, an outing, I would plan around that day or the day after, because a couple days later, I would tend to crash and be tired. So watch your patterns, see how it affects you, and plan around that. Also, ask questions for your doctor. Don't suffer. I know there's a few things that I just kept attributing to, well, I'm on chemo, well, I have cancer. It's just what it is. Nobody knows why. But you know what? There are resolutions to those problems. I had hot flashes. The doctor had an option for me. I was having trouble swallowing and stuff like that, and he had options for me. So don't suffer, be your own advocate. That's probably the #1 message. You have to be your own advocate. Well, that's it for now. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you found this video informative, helpful, and if you did, go ahead and share it with others, like the video, also subscribe if you want more content like this, and hit that bell and you'll be notified when a new video comes up. Again, I really appreciate you being here and joining me on this journey. See you next time. Bye.